Hey, Niktana here. Back with another interview, this time to update you on Domiwoof.
Hello.
So, in this interview, I wanted to make sure that there was the update and to have a casual conversation since the meet and greet in the first two episodes were just as much of a introduction to you as or to me as it was to everyone else watching. And now that there are new things that are happening, and I thought it'd be a great time to start talking to Dami again and do another interview. So, if you'd be so kind as to talk about there is a new platform that you are on, and if you'd like to plug that, I would be grateful to if you could inform the audience.
Yeah, no problem. So I started doing some lewd streams recently. They were first over Discord, but Discord wasn't a very good platform for streaming. It still has a lot of weaknesses as far as being a valid streaming platform goes. So I started using Picardo, and I have no regrets. Picardo has been a very stark contrast to Twitch. It feels a lot more free and a lot more easygoing. I don't feel like I have to worry about somebody coming in and looking at me sideways because of my model's outfits or like because of the stream content or anything like that. And it's overall just really nice to have a platform that I feel like I can be lewd on. Um, so yeah, it's been going well. I really enjoyed Picardo as a lewd platform, and I would recommend anybody who streams on it to to try it as well. Yeah, my link is picardo.tv/Domiwoof. If anybody wants to check it out.
Oh, I'll
I
have that link in the
have
below.
been
I'll have to ask that for it from you.
Sure thing. I've been doing a series on there. We do it every 2 weeks. It's called Fetish Friday. It's where me and my friend Shika Husky do some streaming. And we've been doing dramatical murder recently. We haven't really gotten into any like lewd scenes yet. But another stream that I did on Picardo, we read some scenes from Corruption of Champions out loud, and everyone seems to really enjoy that. So we're going to try that again because it seemed to go really well. And I've also started doing some writing streams on Picardo too, because I'm a smut writer. So a lot of my smut writing can't be shown on Twitch, and it's been really nice to just kind of let people watch me write or to talk about my process or my writing and stuff like that. And it's been good. It's been good.
Like it's funny because like when I first heard of it, I kept forgetting the name of it, but a lot of artists that I noticed were going to Picardo from not being able to really draw freely on Twitch, and even I thought of it myself. But overall, the platform I've been looking at more and more, not just for myself, but for other creators who are kind of bound between the TOS guidelines and the fear of being too lewd for Twitch.
Yeah, no, Picardo is an excellent platform as far as art goes. It's unfortunately still sort of in its infancy stages when it comes to games. I only recently learned that Picardo allows games, so it does have an art mode, and it has a creative mode, and it has a gaming mode. The only real strict guideline that Picardo has is that when you're not doing art, then you switch to like the gaming mode so that it doesn't flag your stream or anything like that. And then if you're doing art, then you have to switch off of gaming mode. That's really the only hard rule that they have. There's no copyright. There's no copyright guidelines. They don't regulate lewd content. They have like outspoken stances on things like Lolly and Shota and all that, which Twitch doesn't really make like clear that it doesn't allow. So Picardo's just been really nice. It's very different, and I've really enjoyed it.
That's news to me to hear about the gaming part. I honestly like thought it was only art.
It was, and, I actually was really surprised to see that as well, because the whole reason I started, streaming on Picardo was, the gaming part.
I'm wondering if that will, like, once Picardo becomes a little more known and then starts giving more freedom to Lewd creators, if those Lewd creators will perhaps abandon ship on Twitch to go to Picardo.
I would love to see it. I think Twitch treats not safe for work creators horribly, unless you're a partner, and then they let you get away with a lot more in terms of lewd activities. But if you're not partner and you're just an affiliate or even not an affiliate, Twitch treats us really bad. I genuinely feel like if you are a more mature creator, you get seen a lot less on Twitch than someone who isn't. And on Picardo, it's just really nice not to worry about that shit.
Yeah, because like I know because I've been looking around because like I'm kind of I became so accustomed, and I think we discussed this last time. I became so accustomed to trying to work around the um the guidelines of like even deviant art, which I find a little ironic now to see that there is the followers, like you can start posting like super not safe for work stuff on there now. And back when I was on the platform heavily, I recall like, oh my god, I had to like just jump through hoops, just be like, how am I going to be able to like draw? Like it was nude men that seemed to have the worst outcome because it's like a dick only has two functions, either on or
It's
off.
it's true. Well, it's also it's also wrong because um, nude female presenting avatars certainly have the big hurdle to overcome of, you can't show your breasts on stream, and if it even looks like you're showing something similar to boobs, then Twitch will like immediately ban you.
Yeah.
With guys, with male presenting avatars, it's a little bit easier. We can show our chest, we can show our stomach, our abs, and stuff like that. It's the waistline that guys really get hammered for, which is kind of a cop out in a way because, like, of course, if you have a model as a VTuber and you are a female presenting VTuber, of course you're always going to show your chest area. That's always going to be a thing, regardless of what outfit you choose. I've never really seen a VTuber that only uses their face. They would, of course, use at least their bust. So female presenting avatars, I feel like, get a lot more shafted there. Because if you're a male presenting avatar and you're showing like your upper body and stuff like that, the only thing you don't have to show is the waist.
Mhm.
And very few VTubers even show their waistline. They very there's maybe a handful that I've seen that will even go past the stomach. So it feels kind of like a cop out that Twitch has that regulation. Although I know that they have that regulation as well for actual camera streamers. Um, which, when it comes to camera streaming, there is a little bit more leeway for female presenting identities than there is for male presenting identities in certain respects. But it really depends on the type of content you usually show, and it depends on what you usually do.
Funny enough, I actually do show the waist. I just cover it up with my like outfits, or at least try to
I
heavily.
No, yeah, I did it once as well. For a long time, actually, I showed my waistline, and then I decided to bring it in a little bit more, just because it felt like my model wasn't like fully in focus. So I started showing more of my chest, and I actually like that a lot more. And like I said, that's an area where Twitch like doesn't care as much if like if a guy uh if a male presenting avatar um has visible boobs as opposed to a female presenting one.
I think the like with the odd balance has like at least what I've been showing is that um despite the fact that that male have perks in the content or regulation department, society in the sense of like I still run into the waifus way more accepted than husbando kind of.
Yeah, no, that still goes on, unfortunately. I don't think that'll ever fully go away. I think part of it has to do with there's a lot more of a heterosexual audience on Twitch than there is anything else. Pretty much anything in the LGBTQIA plus identity field uh, will not get nearly as much attention, and it sucks. It really does. It's one of the reasons that I wish a lot of lewd creators, because a lot of lewd creators are also in the LGBTQIA plus space. There are some that aren't, of course, but a lot of the ones I know are. And I feel like as soon as Picardo becomes a more viable streaming platform, we might see more of those queer creators hop on there, and I feel like it'll be a lot more successful for us.
Well, not even just that. It's like since, and again, I'm trying not to bash platforms too much, just because I have my own issues with them, and we could be here all day. But to see if Picardo were actually to be that safe haven or respite for lewd creators, considering how many pseudo lewd creators are on Twitch, I'd like to see how that would work out if if not like 70% of lewd creators just hopped on Picardo, and then see how a hit would be taken on the viewer, or at least the audience for Twitch, because they would not regulate it enough for the bots and all the other shit that goes on.
Well, if you ask me, Twitch needs to take some hits to begin with. Twitch has r- remarkably been quiet on how not lewd creators, how queer creators get treated, especially with the hate raids that have been happening recently. For them to have such a large platform and to not give us, respectable ways to defend ourselves, um, I really feel like that should have been the moment where they really should have lost a lot of their audience, but they didn't. And that to me says a lot about Twitch's attitude in a general sense, in terms of a community, in a general sense, towards queer creators and queer streamers, especially.
See, the reason, I think that again with Picardo, it's good to get the word out on that, because like with YouTube, like with DeviantArt, there are these platforms that a lot of new creators go to because they don't know any other place. So for me, I went on Twitch because, I mean, granted, I know a lot of streamers that want to support, the creators that I know, but also because I didn't know any other place that would even, I could do that kind of content. But then when I saw Picardo, and then you on it, I was like, huh, okay, I really need to look more into this.
There's a lot of platforms out there right now. I'll just say that. I will say, if you are somebody who would prefer to stream with your camera, for example, ChatterBait might be better for you. Just because that seems to be a little bit more pornographic
Hmm.
in terms of its orientation. Picardo is a lot more artistic. I do see a lot of fetish creators using Picardo to do art, and it does seem very successful for them. I've followed Picardo for years, by the way, just to let you know. Before I even became a streamer, I was an avid supporter of a lot of gay artists on Picardo, so I've been more or less acquainted with Picardo since before it became a gaming platform. It was always devoutly art. I've always liked it as a platform. It's very calm. It's very chill. There's not as much of the busyness that Twitch has. All the stuff that you can edit, all the stuff that everyone has to have if they're going to be a viable streamer because everybody else does it. That just doesn't feel like it has much of a presence on Picardo.
So, what is the, do you when it comes to the presentation of one's avatar? Now, are there restrictions on Picardo for that? Like when you're representing, like, say, like the V2 or Vroid, I should say.
No, not that I know of. The only restrictions on Picardo, I believe that it has, is that you can't be pornographic on camera.
Okay.
So you can draw porn, you can have a lewd avatar, as far as I know, maybe up to a certain extent. I'm sure you probably can't show your avatar's dick on
Yeah.
Picardo, but um, you can have lewd inspiration, like bondage outfits, stuff like that, I'm sure. Um Picardo's terms of service are actually really short. It's very to the point. Like they don't bullshit around with anything. It's all very to the point. They make very clear what you can and cannot do, and it's maybe like about a page and a half long.
Holy
I know
shit.
I read Yeah, I know I read through it because I was looking into what was and wasn't accepted, and I was very shocked by how short it was because there's a lot on Picardo that they don't really care to regulate. They regulate the important things. They don't make any fuss about the stuff that
So it wasn't filled with
doesn't really
jargon or
make much of
anything.
a difference. Right? Yeah.
See, well, to end the Picardo part, see, when I and you can fill in after I say this, of course. But pretty much like when I saw like what I saw of it was I recall stopping in, when I don't have an account, but I was watching a little bit, when you're filling out like a kink card.
Yeah. Yeah. A friend of mine gave me a meme to do on stream. So just as a little exercise before my writing, I decided to fill it out for my avatar Dominic. And it was a lot of fun. We discussed different kinks and we talked about Dominic's leaning towards certain things, and then after I filled it out, I let them choose a couple of the kinks on the card for me to write about, and they got to watch me write a story about ice play.
Wait, about what?
Ice play.
Okay, that's new to me. Could I
Yeah, it was
ask
just
you to
a
elaborate a little bit?
yeah, it was just a story where Dominic, my character is predominantly a mercenary. So he was with his trainer, who is a dog boy OC of mine by the name of Jin. And Jin was teaching Dominic to regulate his internal body temperature because he was going on a mission far up north in the world that he's in, by putting him in bondage and letting ice melt onto his body and just putting ice against his asshole and inside.
Okay, now, funny enough, that makes a lot of sense because I believe it when you said ice play, I was like thinking, what? How could that work? And then my mind was spinning as you were talking. I was like, oh, okay, that was it.
It's a it's usually a form of sexual torture. You put ice on somebody's body and you just let it melt, or you rub ice on somebody's body as it melts. Most commonly, it's used for penetration. Like you put like a ice cube in someone's ass and just like let it sit there as it melts, or let them take it inside. For Dom, it was particularly interesting because Jin, his trainer, had like a big ball of ice, and it was kind of shaped like
So like egg play.
a pool ball. What?
So like the egg play, or
Kinda, yeah.
okay.
I've seen a lot of insertion videos. So, um, I saw some where they put some pool balls up guys' ass, and I've always been kind of motivated by that in terms of writing smut stuff like that. So I wanted to try writing it, and so that was like the first idea that came to mind whenever they said ice play was, yeah, I'm gonna have Dom take a ball of ice up his ass.
Snowball fight.
Yeah.
I just want to point something out, like just like having the conversation. Like I'm wondering how many viewers might be new and be like, "Oh my god, why are they so casual?" Here's something to keep in mind. It's like I and also wanted to tackle this as well. So it brings up a good point, or not point, but it brings up a good conversation. See, one thing that I absolutely enjoyed about talking to Domi, and even why like I was thrilled when we were talking about the interviews in general, because he allowed me to be able to start this playlist by participating, and also, not only doing it, but it opened so many doors for me to be able to feel confident to do this, because I wanted to do interviews for a very long time and try to help spread the word of some creators and people I watch and show my viewers, hidden gems that I find. What I will say, though, is that with this subject, I enjoy talking about it casually because to me, like, I don't have any, like, any agenda or any kind of like personal stake or how have you. So it's just interesting to talk about kink in a casual sense, but I know for some people it might be a little more on the like holy shit side. But the nice part is that I don't think it's a good example to break the stigma, because sex does not have to be such a dirty word or a dirty topic, and it doesn't have to be so shamed or um stigmatized, or especially with the creators. Like with when it comes to like what I said earlier, I made that post is because newcomers, I believe that there was a lot of closet watches for me, and that's been on DeviantArt, that's been on a lot of platforms. You can talk to me. It's okay. Like, I know it's probably, I might not be the best thing to have on your timeline, and maybe you need an alt account for me, but for the long run, it's like, I'm not going to bite you, and I'm not, like, just because I talk lewd and just make jokes and shit, it's not like I'm after everybody. It's sort of that age-old shit of, like, every straight guy that has a gay friend's like, oh my god, they want me.
I think that's the case for a lot of lewd creators. I think it's probably the case for me as well. I know there's a lot of people who follow me on Twitter and don't like ever interact with my content, but I know that they're like looking at it. So I think a lot of people are afraid of lewd creators just because they're not really sure what lewd content is. The VTuber community, for example, has painted an image of lewd tubers as being people who are just not able to behave. And that makes me really sad because that means that regardless of how well your intentions are, regardless of how professionally you present yourself as somebody who does lewd content, you're always going to be followed by that label because people who do content in the same realm as yours are being given that label. And it makes it really hard for you as a creator because no matter if you've interacted with somebody or not, chances are they are probably aware of the reputation, and it's something you always have to overcome, no matter if you know them or if you don't, just because they're waiting for you in the back of their mind to fuck up.
I mean, that's kind of like the, like when I think of like the Scarlet Letter, I think of like just, just shame in not only, but again, I that's these are two topics I'm passionate about sexuality, mainly just because like I remember being in my teens and just being like so disgusted with myself, thinking it was wrong, and I didn't. It wasn't like I had anyone to talk to about it or any of that subject. So that's why I'm open now, because I want to be able to provide that open conversation with just like anybody, because I wasn't given that. So, and it's a terrible thing to grow up with and just think you're constantly this like just this monster, this creature. And sadly,
Absolutely.
people still think of you that way because you're open about it, because you're comfortable about it, and sometimes threatened because I mean, I just find that there are some people who also are threatened by the fact that your popularity might be a little bit better than theirs because you're so open. So therefore, to shame you is to, it's better to shame and put you down than try to lift themselves up to a different standard.
Oh yeah, that already goes on in the VTuber community. There's plenty of people who are envious of lewd creators and blame them for all sorts of shit.
Which, funny enough,
Uh,
oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Well, I was having a conversation. As I'm not going to name names, but I was having a conversation. It was sort of refreshing because on one hand, they were mentioning like a lewd creator who also like they were talking about like their family and just, like and stuff like that. Not in a bad way. It was just yeah, no, lewd creators are people too. They have their lives. They have the off persona, but again, it's just nice to be treated with dignity and respect, just as a person. You just happen to be of a genre or happen to be open with something doesn't make you like your intentions are terrible. And even if there are people who, no matter what platform or not platform, no matter what genre, no matter what occupation, no matter what standing, there's always going to be people that abuse it, and then there's going to it feeds the ignorant to blanket the rest of us as we're all like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you said it as well as I could have said it. Lewd creators are people too. At the end of the day, we are people who have our lives. No, we're not lewd 24/7. No, we're never going to just, you know, I mean, there might be some people who constantly present themselves in a lewd way, but we have feelings, we have lives. We have significant others, we have family, we have friends. There's gonna be moments where we aren't lewd because we're just not feeling it, and there's gonna be moments where we're like 100% horny. That's just how it is. There's no difference between a lewd creator and somebody who's not a lewd creator, other than the fact that the lewd creator has made the decision to participate in lewd content. It doesn't mean that they're 100% of the time going to be that way. My Twitter is full of not safe for work material just because that's how I want to present it. But the way I am on Twitch and the way I am Picardo, I'm not constantly 100% of the time talking about dick or getting fucked or fucking somebody or anything like that. In fact, my personal take on it is I don't really like to do shameless things. I love getting lewd art, I love posting it, and I like retweeting really lewd stuff, but when it comes to stream and interacting with people, I'm just me.
Yeah.
The lewd stuff is just a part of who I am and who I wanna be, and you don't see me constantly over here talking about porn or talking about masturbating and things like that. That's just not in I mean, it's in my personality to do, sure, but it's not gonna be the entire focus of my existence.
Well, not even just it's just that like and again, they really come. It's just like comes. Sorry, comes with the territory in the sense of And again, when I say like the ignorant part of it is that even if you're a lewd tuber, there like with anything we have different like we're individuals that we're not all the same. And for me, it's like
It's true.
I love to draw and especially like discussing to people. I hate going into anything, any event, any sort of social gathering, and I already know it's like no one got the prep talk but me, I'm sure, like in some instances that I've had. But most of all, I hate feeling I have to have a disclaimer that, hey, I'm not a creep. I just happen to draw sex and porn and this and that and that and the other thing. And no
Yeah.
one else has to do that. And the sick
No,
thing
yeah.
is that for me, despite how like I believe that I think it's the confidence thing that when people are open and sexual, it's like the confidence is intimidating in some
Yeah.
instances. But for me, if people really understood, I am oftentimes either a mess, a romantic, or I am literally just fucking my face with food watching Golden Girls alone.
No, yeah, like that's part of the reputation, right? That whole disclaimer thing is part of it. Because as being a lewd creator, somebody has given you the perception of if even if they just suddenly walk in and they're just catching your content for the first time, the expectation they have of you is that you're going to say something that makes them uncomfortable. In reality, in my streams, I don't like to make people uncomfortable. I've never liked to make people uncomfortable. Even when I'm talking about kink or fetish or writing Dom getting fucked in the ass by ice or something, I'm not trying to make people uncomfortable. And I'm not going to do it in a disrespectful way. I'm going to do it in a way that's tasteful and I'm going to do it in a way that seeks to arouse rather than seeks to shame or make somebody nervous or make somebody feel bad. Like, that's never been my goal as a content creator, and I would wager to say that most content creators don't want their audience uncomfortable. So, like I said already, the only difference between a lewd creator and someone who's not lewd is just they made the decision to have lewd content. That's it. That's all it comes down to.
See, my balance throughout my artistic I guess adventure because I've been drawing forever, but um for me, it's not that I want to make people uncomfortable. I want to make people think. I want to make people reflect. And I want to open that closed mind into the horizons of. I believe that a lot of times people are a lot more open minded than they allow themselves to believe. They like to look to files. They like to do everything that is cookie cutter or spoon fed to them so they do not have to think because they're afraid of what they might find inside of themselves. So for me, when I've ever drawn or anything. You also have with the lewd creators, we also have that to have a balance of understanding of like not willingness to compromise, being ourselves and to try and be more say so to fit in, but also not go after the jugular with people that do like that come in and be like, oh, how do I put this? Not try to be tailor made, but also try to maintain our own vision of our creativity without compromising to appeal.
And that exactly is why I want Twitch to fail. Because as a lewd creator, you are expected to be cleaner in order to fit in. because if you aren't somebody who fits inside the cookie cutter, you are not going to get seen. People are not going to feel comfortable networking with you. They're not going to feel comfortable promoting you, and they're not going to feel comfortable talking to you. And that is one of my biggest struggles so far as a content creator. My biggest realization moment throughout my year of VTubing was the moment where I realized that I was the token acceptable lewd tuber in my friends group. The only reason they accepted me is because I was just short of being lewd enough to not be acceptable. And that made me feel like shit because I knew people who were, doing porn content, for example. Like I follow a couple of creators that are on Chatterbait every weekend, getting paid to masturbate and stuff like that. And obviously, I'm in a relationship, so I'm not gonna go on Chatterbait and like show somebody my dick or something. Not at this point in my VTubing career, but like it made me feel really bad to think about, hey, if I was one of those people that was on Chatterbait every weekend, I probably wouldn't have these friends. I probably would not have people reaching out to me and doing collabs and stuff like that. And I noticed when I started to veer a little bit more towards lewd presentations with like my outfits and just like different portrayals of Dom's character and stuff like that, that I got interacted with a lot less. And um, that really sucks. Somebody I looked up to and was close friends with, and I don't talk to them anymore, but they once described me in their stream and to some people that rated me as a wholesome lewd streamer. And at first, I didn't really understand the designation. I actually kind of got mad about it because I was like, wait, I'm not wholesome lewd. I'm lewd. I'm a lewd. I'm literally a lewd tuber. I don't do wholesome lewd. And then I realized you have to be wholesome lewd on Twitch because you can't be lewd. So if you're not wholesome lewd, then on Twitch you're just not accepted. Because if you aren't able to behave on Twitch according to the expectations that the Twitch community has of you, then chances are you're not going to get anywhere. And that is a really shitty thing to realize when you're somebody who's comfortable with who they are and comfortable with talking about lewd activities and stuff like that, and realizing that if you do that, you'll be shunned. And a growing trend recently in the say so community is the say so community has gone from making fun of sex and using it as like that butt of everyone's joke. Like I don't know how long you've been acquainted with the VTuber community, but back when I started was during the winter storm here in Texas. And during that time, I was still seeing people using like collars and leashes and acting like they were playthings and, joke. And if you mentioned pet play, you were treated as weird or suspicious or something like that. And now people are out on Twitter talking about lewd activity like they're going to fuck people that retweet their content. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's ridiculous. It's gotten to a point where you can tell so obviously that the say so community doesn't take anything remotely related to lewd content seriously, and yet they seek to inflate their numbers by getting close to it. It's really ridiculous.
See, that's where like this doesn't like I've felt this way even before. Like my VTuber experience has been luckily, like I'll get into that in a sec, but I'll just the first point I was trying to make. Sorry, even before VTubing, I feel like the biggest perversion of sexuality is the trying to think of like how I was going to word that.
No, yeah, take your time.
I'll have to come back to that because like damn, like pretty much like what I was trying to say. And I had the phrase in my fucking head, and then my brain went to the other thing of like trying to answer the other question simultaneously, and then I was like, short fusing. It's like for me, I have like 3 voices in my head, 1 mouth. So they all kind of like try to take the wheel. I would say the biggest discredit to the whole, like in just in general, like mental health and sexuality have always been like really dear to me because those subjects have been so shamed throughout time and stigmatized without seeking conversation about it, but to sweep it under the rug. And I believe because of years and years and years of sweeping those 2 subjects under the rug, it's why we have the unfortunate behavior within people today, because there were no outlets, there were no ways to normalize it to make these people feel like they were among others like them, and to feel like these gross, disgusting individuals that had no hope, and just unfortunately express it in extreme ways that are self-destructive.
So I definitely agree with you. But I'm going to go out a limb here and say that it's a little bit deeper than that. I think the real turning point for sexual content came from the destruction of Tumblr.
I never
I
was
think
on it
that
or
after
know much about it. I
Tumblr,
apologize.
no, it's okay. Um, the thing about Tumblr is that it had so many problems, but what it did best is it gave lewd creators a viable platform.
Didn't they take that
It
away
was
though?
very They did,
Okay.
and that's
Yep.
why I think it's really led to a degradation of sexual comfort. Uh, Now, society has been moving towards sexual discomfort for a very long time. So when I say the destruction of Tumblr, I feel like led to furthering that. What I'm speaking of specifically is online. I think that once Tumblr died, a lot of people who used Tumblr as a refuge went to Twitter. And Twitter isn't nearly as good for what Tumblr succeeded at, which Tumblr succeeded at proliferating photographs, proliferating videos, and giving lewd creators and lewd audiences more of a voice. You had the ability to actually get your content seen on Tumblr, whereas on Twitter, it's a struggle. Because if you, for example, post a lewd piece of art. That lewd piece of art might get some views. It might not. Chances are, unless you're a big creator already, it's going to get drowned out. So even if you posted a lewd piece of art thinking that you're going to get more followers, or you're going to get more likes, or maybe somebody will like the fact that you use a certain fetish or you use some characters and stuff like that, unless you connect it to something like a fandom or just a fetish or just anything that you can to get that piece of art boosted, chances are it's going to tank and it's going to fall in views. And the same thing can be said for videos. Um, Twitter, the way Twitter works is if you post a video, people can watch it without really like clicking on it. So just by scrolling through your timeline and stuff like that, sometimes people can watch your videos. And I've seen videos that I've posted that got like 138 views and got maybe 7 likes on it. But the way that Twitter works, it doesn't populate videos by how many views they get. It populates videos by how many comments they get, how many retweets they get, and how many likes they get.
Mm-hmm.
So, as a lewd creator trying to get noticed on something like Twitter, it condemns you because you're trying to post content, but you're not trying to be controversial. And Twitter rewards
Yep.
people who are
Yep.
controversial, it rewards bad behavior. Tumblr didn't do that. Tumblr didn't really focus on bad behavior or even really things like for example, what was tied to popular things. It used hashtags in a way that Twitter could only dream of. As a lewd creator, you could post all sorts of fetish hashtags, and anybody who is into that fetish could click on that hashtag and view all of the content that you had on your blog related to it. It was amazing for perpetuating sexual comfort and people that were sex positive and kink positive. It had so many kink positive education blogs. All of that was lost when Tumblr got taken away.
When I knew anything about Tumblr was, I guess, towards like the end you were just mentioning, because I only knew of it when the big storm of like information came out about Tumblr's lewd portion of its platform was being tripped or taken away. So
Yeah.
that was the only time
And
I
I
ever
was
really knew anything
actually
about it. Again, like when,
Yeah, and I
yeah.
was actually a pretty loud voice on Tumblr about kink positivity. I ran a kink positivity blog for about 3 years on Tumblr before it finally got taken away. And it was really sad because you saw a lot of voices that were giving good information just get silenced on Twitter because there's not a way to get noticed on Twitter unless you're controversial, unless you're causing problems with people, unless you're promoting content that inspires uh, disagreement or
So
dissatisfaction
conflict.
or misbehavior, conflict, stuff like that. That's the only way to get noticed on Twitter.
Probably just to rank up because the comments section. So if there's more conflict, there's more posts, there's more comments, there's more responses, there's more.
Exactly.
See,
Exactly.
for me, like the reason I've and again, this is also like when I say this, it's not like tooting my own horn or anything. I hate like just even sounding like that. See, one post I did, and I was my lewd art, and it did get about like 300 plus views, but there were so few comments. Now, I'm not looking to, and again, it's not like I'm trying to bash people for not commenting or trying to be like that person,
Mhm,
though.
mhm.
It made me like realize a little bit. It sort of like made me smile a little bit because at least it was being seen. But it's sort of like how I felt on DeviantArt and other platforms as a lewd creator, is that I know you're looking, but
Yeah,
I
yeah,
get it. I'm probably not what you want on your timeline. But
yeah. No, I completely understand.
as for, and again, to keep people updated, so
Mhm.
are there any, like, in general with your content, Twitch versus Picardo, has there been any shift in what your priorities are for like what kind of content you want to post on each platform that people could look forward to? Like say like maybe those people who are like just learning about you and want to slow burn until they like perhaps get more of a fuller effect of you on Picardo with a little more freeing of a platform. Those who might be transitioning from Twitch to Picardo, what is the difference between your, or what you would say is like your biggest difference between the Picardo versus Twitch content? If that made sense, I apologize. It made sense in my head.
So I'm not I'm not really switching fully to Picardo for the reason that Picardo isn't a platform right now that has the infrastructure that Twitch has. If it did, it would make sense to switch in a heartbeat, but currently right now it's not. So what I'm doing is actually dual streaming. Anything lewd related, so that's like BL games, that's my lewd writing streams, that's just pretty much lewd collabs, like if I do a lewd game with somebody else on like a friend of mine or something like that, that's going to be on Picardo. Anything lewd related is going to be on Picardo. Um, it doesn't really matter what it is. That's really what makes the decision for me. In general, what I'd like to do on Picardo going forward, my big goal right now on Picardo is to reach 20 views. 20, sorry, not 20 views. 20 viewers per lewd stream. Once we hit 20 viewers per lewd stream, I got a couple of ideas in the works. I got some outfits that I want to get made for my Picardo streams. I showcased those during my celebration last Sunday for reaching 1 year in VTubing.
Which
We
congratulations
got
again.
some redeem. Thank you. I appreciate that. Um, hasn't been an easy year, but we made it. We got some redeem ideas. Not anything so lewd as like masturbating on stream. I mean, I have considered something like that. Just without showing like anything, just doing it while like the stream is going on as a redeem. But what I'm really more excited about is like fetish redeems, such as like chastity redeems, or like if I'm collabing with someone, then the viewers get a chance to put them in chastity. Uh, insult redeems, degradation redeems, humiliation redeems. Um, there's a couple of specialty kinks that I thought about doing, like you know, uh, doing doing a stream like with a gag on, for example, or wearing a mask or something like that. Just different types of redeems that sort of fit the vibe. We're still kind of workshopping what exactly we want to do for those, but we really thought that it would be cool to have something similar. Like I have a wheel on Twitch that viewers can spin and they get different outcomes. We thought it would be really cool to have a kink wheel. So that's something that we want to do once we hit 20 views. On Picardo, I'd really like to stream some solo lewd games. Right now, I'm doing a lewd collab every 2 weeks for lewd games. I'd really like to find a game that I can stream solo lewd. I haven't found it just yet. I'm really particular when it comes to lewd games, and it's also really hard for me to sit down and play like a lewd game that I'm not masturbating to. Just in general, that's just a me thing. That's not really it to say that there's anything wrong with the game. It's really my attention span. um, and me thinking, oh, I don't really have time to play lewd games unless I'm trying to get off. Um, as far as content on Picardo otherwise, I'm not bringing anything else to Picardo. I'm keeping the JRPGs, the visual novels, the horror games, the stuff that I usually stream that's not lewd on Twitch. I feel like that has the best infrastructure for that kind of content right now. Um, the setup that I have on Twitch is done so that it makes it really hard to switch currently. Um, but I will be trying to use Picardo more and more on a regular basis. I'd like to at least do a writing stream every Monday. Now, it hasn't happened that way yet because of work, but it's something I really want to get into the practice of doing.
I mean, don't feel any shame on that because, like, hey, I wanted to do interviews every Monday, and unfortunately, it's like I'm the type of person like I'll have so many ideas, but then my mental state or just like things that happen, like I don't want to do anything half cocked because it will show my
Oh yeah.
work. So
Oh yeah.
I want to
Absolutely.
provide the content, but I don't know how to tell people. It's like, look, I don't want to post shit.
Yeah. And I'm the same way. There are days where I go to work and I'm like, okay, I can do a lewd writing stream today, and then I get home and I'm like, oh man, I don't want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Yep.
want to write today. So it's hard. I'm hoping to work towards it. I would really love to make it a regular weekly thing to the point where my viewers can look forward to it, but it's just not there yet.
I think that like it's funny because like I don't like when I first started, um I don't know if you had the same idea or same sorry idea same sort of motivation as like when I first started like posting stuff and originally I was not going to do YouTube or videos. I hate my voice. I just didn't think I was entertaining, and then my
Mhm.
partner said like, oh no, you gotta people will find this funny. You gotta just try it, record. And I was like, oh, for fuck's sake. What he gets off to is my misery. He likes when I like bitch at a game, which I hate doing. I absolutely hate being that angry fucker on the fucking mic, but I knew what he enjoyed. Then after I did it, um, I was like, all right, fine, I'll just do some commentary videos. But what I feel like the in the beginning at least, what inspired me was being able to just give back and entertain because I remember so many times of just being depressed, like curled up in a ball, like just when I wasn't like attacking a tub of ice cream. I recall just like sitting there just feeling like that weight and that really just horrible stillness, and then just putting on YouTube and watching creators just commentate in video games and or just like talk, and it was just nice to have that voice and just feeling like a friend was in the room to just sort of like drown out all the noise in your head. And for me,
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm the best creator or I can provide that same sort of level of comfort, but if there are people that do look forward to my content, and that's why I post as much as I possibly can and try not to like skip a week or anything like that, because if there's just that one person that is looking forward to and this is their respite, their weekly or daily sort of thing that gets their mind off of things, it's like that's my focus of trying to keep going and of course to grow and make sure that I can in a business sense of like wanting to get to a place of where I can start doing things a little more professionally. But of course, the
Yeah.
motivation always has stayed at that place of just wanting to give back, knowing how many creators I watched and got me through harder times.
Yeah. No, I can understand that.
But it's just hard. Like I think, like for when I first started, though, there was just this rush of everything was new and exciting, and I just was like, "Oh my god, I can't wait to do this!" I was like, my speed of like getting content out, I couldn't fucking wait. And then before the plague hit, and um, I noticed a huge dip and decline in speed and just overall like, oh
Yeah.
god, I just don't give a shit. It's not that I didn't give a shit. It's mentally I just was like, I just couldn't tap into that excitement that I used to until like some current events of like collabs or working with people, and I noticed it went from me having fun solo to me having more fun with people.
Yeah, no, it was like that with me for a while, and then I noticed a lot of the collabs that I was getting offered or invited to and stuff like that really slowed down. So I started having to rely on myself a little bit more for that type of motivation, and it's hard. It's not easy to do this, especially having chosen to be lewd and do it. It's really hard. There's a lot of days where you will go on Twitter and you will just have to shut down the entire day because somebody did some fucked up shit that makes all lewd tubers look bad, or you'll see like a score of things talking bad about lewd tubers all over your wall. You'll see people that you and have done things with grow past you, and you know The reason seems to be because they're not lewd and you are. Um, it's hard. It's definitely hard. Like I said, Twitch is not friendly to lewd creators. In a general sense, it's already hard to be a content creator. It's twice as hard to be somebody who creates lewd content. Your audience uh, will always be expecting more of you,
Hmm.
especially if they're the type of audience that expects lewd content. They're going to expect you to keep pushing the envelope and get lewder and lewder and lewder and lewder. And if you're
Yeah.
not comfortable doing that, then it becomes really hard to figure out how to perform. And for me, I've gotten to the point to where I have just said, fuck it. I'm going to be who I want to be. And if people don't want to accept me for that, then I'm not going to accept them either.
Hmm.
I'm not the type of creator who is just going to silently sit by and, be happy as others push him aside or treat him like shit or just kind of try and step over him. I'm not that kind of person. I'm not going to talk badly about people that do those things. I'm not going to openly call them out or cause problems, but I'm definitely not going to treat them the same way. I'm not going to promote them and I'm not going to participate in that. Um, the thing with me is at the end of the day, I do what I do because I enjoy doing it and I enjoy showing my audience new experiences, and I like giving them the opportunity to relax and unwind while enjoying my flavor of content. And that's what it's about to me at the end of the day. Um, there are some days where it just isn't going anywhere, so those days aren't days that I do it. But largely, I would like to think that I've done something special. Um, I'm obviously not the not the only lewd creator to do what I do, and I'm obviously not the most popular one, but I would like to think that with my particular flavor of what I do, that I've done something a little bit unique, and that I've opened people's minds up to what you can do as a creator and what is acceptable as a creator, and how even if you create lewd content, it doesn't necessarily define you or who you are or anything. It's just what you choose to do.
I could, I mean, I could vouch for. I think that you're doing something special because you were one of the first VTubers I had seen, but also introduced me to what it was possible on the platform of Twitch in the lewd sense. Because I was always doing lewd stuff. Depending on the platform, I always felt chastised. So
Yeah.
when I saw you, that's what drew me to check you out because I was like, holy shit, this is like me because I had not seen that before, and especially someone so open into the like your outfits, the kink, and just like it was just a really refreshing thing to see. It was nice not to feel so alone and isolated.
Well, thank you. Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. It does mean a lot. I will say this. Um, the thing about the thing about content and being chastised, what I've learned is that nobody can chastise me. Certainly, you can come up to me and like you can talk to me and say, "Hey, maybe you did this in a distasteful way, or maybe you could have done this a little bit better." But as far as kink shaming me, as far as telling me what I can and can't do, and as far as making me feel bad for what I like, you can't do that. Only I have the right to do that, and I'm not going to do it.
Well, I mean, also like it was just nice to see the um like I think with like there are like genuinely like creators that do need to see like content like yours and other lewd creators that just show that you can there is a platform for you. It's not going to be easy, but it's possible, and don't be discouraged from being who you are because like for me, I'd rather be hated for who I am than be liked for something I'm never going to be.
Yeah.
And I think that like for me it's and again when I tell anybody that might be a potential friend or anything, it's like, look, I'm the last person to be offended if you say you do not like me. I would rather you be upfront and say it so I don't go around looking like a fool treating you like a friend or anything like that. I'm not going to treat you with disrespect if you're just not if just I'm not someone you want in your life, but I certainly do not want to be paraded around or just strung along to be thinking that we're friends when you just don't like me. That makes me feel disgusting.
Yeah, and I'm the exact same way, and there's far too many people in the VTuber community especially who will just keep you around thinking that you're their friend, and gradually over time you feel more and more cut out by them. It's the most popular trend in this community, and it is extremely common as a lewd creator. I will say that.
So, to end on this interview, where can people find you? And I will have links in the description below, and I will ask you to send them to me after stream. But tell the audience
Yeah,
where they can find the wonders of wonders of Domiwoof. Sorry, my God.
sure thing. So I have a Twitter, at DomiWoofVT is my Twitter. You will find my stream schedules get posted there on a weekly basis. I post all of my stream announcements there. You'll see clips sometimes when I get around to posting them. I'm really bad at posting clips. And my lewd art and stuff like that I get done. I post my writing on there from time to time as well. So Twitter is really the best place to reach me. I have a Discord, which I can't really say the link of over voice because it won't translate very well. But I do have a community Discord that you can join, and you can learn all about me and get to know me and talk with me and interact with my content and stuff like that. I have my Picardo, which is picardo.tv/Domiwoof. I have Twitch, which is twitch.tv/Domiwoof. And if you want to support me and what I do take donations on coffee.com/Domiwoof. And there are also coffee memberships as well, which are which will get you a free raffle every month into one of my stories, um, which I try and put out every month, but it's been a little bit hard lately, so I'm kind of behind.
All right. So trying to think of like what else to. I'm just trying to think of like what else to end on because I want to make, like I said, I want to make sure that I plug everything. Oh, like I said, with anything, like even if with the Discord, like with the links that I'll have in the description below, I'm sure if like they go onto your platform, they can also find the link to the Discord there as well.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So, all right, but thank you so much again. Like I really do enjoy talking to you, and it's again, this is what the beauty of this playlist has been is to be able to finally talk to the people that I watch, and of course, without you, I wouldn't have been able to start this because again, at the time, I was heavily considering it, but when you were talking about it to me, it was inspirational to be able to have like have a foot in the door with it, knowing that someone else was going to take an interest and participate as well. So I thank you.
Yeah, no problem at all. I'm happy to be back anytime.
All right, so again, this is Niktana, interviewing Domiwoof, and thank you so much for watching. Make sure to click on the links below and follow Domi on his platforms. And this is Niktana. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great week.
See ya.